Asher Grodman, star of Ghosts, the man with the best legs on television. I have a very important question before we get into the deep dark of it. Do you own any swag of any characters that you have played? Any action figures, any costume pieces?
Oh, wow. What a great question.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Do I? This is such a good. Well, I feel like I've stolen a couple things over the
Liberated,
years.
liberated.
Thank you so much. I liberated a couple things. Um what I did a what comes to my mind first is I did this production of Baby Doll,
Mhm.
which is a Tennessee Williams really movie that they then turned into a play. Usually it's the other way around. And it was a great hat. Just had a great hat that
Ooh.
I brought home with me, this black like cowboy hat kind of thing. So that I have every intention of stealing Trevor's money clip that says T Money on it when the
Totally.
show is canceled. So our props department is waiting for me to come in there. The second they take us off the air, I'm stealing that.
There has to be
Um,
like 135 of those floating around
there really
some
aren't because he's
warehouse.
only ever had pants one time,
That's
so he
true.
only needed the wallet one time. But yes, that will be promptly stolen. Um, yeah, that cowboy hat, that money clip, pending. There's some articles of clothing, but nothing that's like so, you know. I played Amadeus in
Mhm.
Amadeus, and I wish I stole something from that, but I was like, I'm not none of this is gonna be I'm not gonna want any of this.
You don't want to walk around
And
with a powder wig every
yeah,
day
it's
of
not
your
gonna,
life.
yeah. It's very, very limited usage for that. So yeah, that's what comes to mind, those two.
If we were going to make a statue of Trevor, what pose do you think he would be in? Yes.
Come on. Come on. I work with this really amazing acting coach named Bob Krakauer, who's Bob Cracker and Bob Krakauer and Larry Moss are like my two like acting like
Gurus.
teachers gurus, yeah. And both of them would shudder at the word guru, but
That's
they,
how you know they're
they're
good eggs.
yeah, oh, they're great eggs. And Bob, when I first got the show, and we were gonna shoot the pilot, I can't remember if it
Mhm.
was the pilot or the second episode, was like, what would be good? Try to find some like, because in the '90s it was like, hip hop was really popping off, and there were no limitations on it what people were doing. It was kind of this, at least in Trevor's world, it was like all doors were open. He was like, can you try to find like some like really dumb gang sign that he would throw out? And I was like, and that's where I was like, oh, maybe it's the timeout sign.
Yeah.
So that's how that came into being. So yeah, he'd be doing his little T Money sign.
So you've been playing Trevor for 5 years now. I'm
five
trying to do the
years
math from when you would have shot the pilot to now. What have
Yep.
you learned working on one character over that time versus like appearing on Elementary for a single episode?
Oh my God. Uh Oh, you better sit down for this one.
Ready.
Uh, I've learned a lot. I mean, well, first of all, there are things that are just like unique to our show, right? Like, th- I don't know of another show. I can't even think of one that is like an ensemble show where like a pie is sliced in like 10 slices,
Yeah.
and so it takes a second to figure out what is 1/10 of this pie? What does that look like? And something that I think we're always calibrating is the ways in which a four-person scene is different from a seven-person
Mm.
scene, different from a three-person scene, right? Because it's always like you're sharing this frame with people, and it's comedy, so it's you're trying to keep the ball in the air, and there's a rhythm, there's a timing to it, but there's also you gotta have some spontaneity to it. So figuring that out is always, and we shoot so fast that you get like two or three shots at something. So that's all an ever developing learning process. Um, and I think there's a perspective that comes from it. I'm saving the I guess the creative stuff for last, but there's a perspective on it just in things don't tend to last in
Mm.
this business. They never last.
Hmm.
So we've kind of been here, 5 years, and we've seen the landscape change, and people from other shows come in and tell us their glory or horror stories. One thing that I have learned, I think we've all learned, and we're very grateful for this, is we have a really, um, really great cast dynamic and crew and great crew. And I think we've all kind of had the experience of guest starring on other shows. I'm not saying this was elementary, but
Yeah,
of guest starring on
yeah,
other shows where you're kind of like, um, you're the skepticism around your mere presence of being there. It's you're certainly an outsider,
yeah.
but it is that thing where it's like like in a football game where it's like you're a receiver who's stepping on to catch one pass and you're going to step off and we're not going to see you again. And like yeah, then they would have to keep that energy up or that to keep the momentum going. So it's very hard to come on a guest star on a show, and I think we try to make a point on our show of making it very friendly and very welcoming, and having a really like a fun set. So I think there's a lot that I've learned in how to set a tone on set and
Mhm.
like how what your job is as an actor to try to keep things um open and create a safe space for work to happen, for risks to happen. So that's been a big thing. And then yeah, there's always this balance between what we have established and our responsibility to what we've established. Where if you're coming in for one episode, you don't have to worry about anything,
Yeah.
It is like swing it and leave. Um, and it's always a tricky thing for our show because we live in this kind of in between two polarities of like our concept is such a specific and I think just a generational concept for a show, and all credit to the BBC guys
Mhm.
for that, where it kind of is, it's a world building concept where we go back in time, and so we can build on the past and plant a seed and then build on it 50 years later, and so that is, there's a real like calibration to that where you feel like you're developing something. There's also the side of our show that is a sitcom on CBS,
Yeah.
and that has a kind of like not that you start at zero every week, but there is like it's a new journey every
Mhm.
week. And so you may do things that contradict things that you've established. And so then we kind of exist in the middle of those two things. And there's always that calibration of like, all right, so what are the things that we have established that we have a responsibility to build on because of just the cause and effect of storytelling versus what are the things that we can just kind of let go, and the concept, the genre, the tone of the show will just allow for that playful kind of, we're starting afresh here. And that's always something in our minds about like what are we responsible to that we've established versus when we can just kind of like throw caution to the wind and tread new territory. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I was going to say your journey, Trevor's journey into becoming a lover boy, I think, kind of beginning in season two, really illustrates, I think, what you're talking about.
Ah, a lover boy.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
he becomes a real sweetie once we get
Ah,
underneath that, He's the sweet
yeah.
baby
There's
angel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There is, the one thing that when I got the script for the first time, or when I read it for the first time, I really thought, I was like, this is one of the greatest pilots I've ever read.
Amazing.
And part of that was the world was so rich and specific, but the other thing was like this could really go anywhere. And I felt that I just had to get out of the way because
Mm.
like what was on the page worked. So I didn't try to like put anything on it. The only little thing that I tried to add a little bit of was I thought, if the whole thing is that this guy just wants the party to keep going, right? Then underneath that is a guy who wants people to be together, and there's a kind of like puppy
Oh,
playful energy in that, right? And what sucks for him is that the party's with these deadbeats
yeah.
for eternity, but at the same time he's got this like loyalty thing going on. So there is this softer side of Trevor that it's come out more and more and more, and I think one of the fun things about Trevor is he's the last guy you expect that from,
Yeah.
but because he's the most recently dead, and his proximity to life is so like there is such a proximity to life. He really has the capacity to break your heart because he's not far removed from his own demise, his own life. Um, and yeah, he's it's in Trevor's world, everyone in this house would be sleeping with each other, and there would be no problems. And it's like, what's the big deal? We're here for eternity anyway. Who cares?
It would be a Cinemax
Um,
show if he was the guy in charge.
yeah, he'd be like, "Why? Who? Yeah, all right, here's sleep with you on a Tuesday, sleep with you on a Wednesday. Who cares? We're stuck." But that's not the group he's with. So he's he has brought his own flavor of his own perspective to the house, and things have balanced out in a way.
So you did make a sports metaphor, and previously you and I were talking about you being the king of the CBS squad of fantasy football players. So I know from your Instagram you're
I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
oh, how did you get into football? Is this organic or did you just have to
Oh,
trounce all your co-stars?
actually, you just became my favorite interviewer ever. Um,
Hey!
well, I mean, I grew up with football because my dad is a big football fan, but I became a Jaguars fan because my dad is a lifelong Lions fan, and I don't know how much you know about football, but the baseline knowledge you need is that the Lions have won like maybe two playoff games in 70 years.
Oof.
And basically, my mom went to my dad and was like, "You can't do this to your children. They're not going to have friends if they're Lions fans." And my dad like literally like sat down my brother and I was 8, and he was like, "You're not allowed. Sorry, you have to pick your own teams." And that year the Jaguars were created, so I chose them from day one. So yeah, and it's just, it's sports is it's great. It's amazing. It makes you feel like a kid again. You're always watching something that you never know what's going to happen. It's so thrilling. It's like a great lesson as an actor. Like, you have a thing on a page and you know where it's going to end, and your job is to make it feel like it's not inevitable,
Mhm.
like anything
Ooh.
could happen. So,
Ooh.
um,
Lastly, but not leastly, because here in the Popverse, we celebrate the best in TV, movie, and comics. What are
wow.
you geeking out about that you're not working on? So, what are you enjoying that's not ghosts?
Um, what am I geeking out on? I really loved English Teacher. I thought it was so
Ooh.
good.
Hmm.
I heard the news today and I'm bummed. But it's such a fun show to watch. I'm loving The Chair Company.
Yeah.
Tim Robinson is a
Genius.
brilliant lunatic. And it's just such a joy. It's such a joy to watch. And then what's the last movie I saw was Frankenstein, which was incredible. Oh my God. It's so good. And it's like a horror film with a capital H, where it's like existential horror, like the horror of just being human, and it has this wonderful poetic soul to it. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm geeking out about right now.
Thank you so much for talking with us and for letting me pretend like I knew anything about football.
Ah, you killed it. I love it. I thought you were a pro.